so this is a plain buttonhole machine. On the left hand side at the back of the machine is the power switch. So switch it on, you'll hear a noise, and then come to the other side of the machine at the back and press the enter button. And that calibrates the machine and it lifts the presser foot up off the bed so that you can get your fabric underneath to sew. The first thing I'll show you to do is how to wind a bobbin. So we'll break the thread off. The thread should go up into the thread stand, and then it comes across to this little tension disc on top of the machine. So this is only for the bobbin winder. That's all it does. Pass it into the little hole. In between the two silver discs, there's a spring above it which will put some tension on the thread, and then across and onto a bobbin and onto the machine. So get yourself an empty bobbin out of the drawer. So I usually just wind enough thread onto the bobbin to cover the tail, and so that when I pull on it, it's not going to come free. Okay, place it onto the bobbin winder rod there. It will spin clockwise, so you need to put it on so that when it spins clockwise, it's taking up the thread, and then push the lever over. Now, it's important to remember to remove any bobbin cases and bobbins that are underneath the machine, and also to take the needle thread out back to the take-up lever, which is this lever here. So at the moment it's caught in the blade, so we need to get it out of there and just take the thread back from here. So the machine's on. When we put our foot down on the power pedal, it will start sewing. You have to keep putting your foot down until you have enough thread on here, and then you can push that over, remove the bobbin, cut the thread, and then you're ready to thread the machine. So to thread the machine, take it out of the bobbin tension disc. The machine's already threaded, so I can just tie it on here and pull it through, and I'll just show you how it threads using that method. So it goes into the hole on this guide here and loops around and into here. It comes in between the two tension discs on the left hand side so that it gets held with a bit of tension in there. It comes across to the top hole here and then into the next hole, down over to the needle tension disc, in between the two plates which have a spring to put a bit of tension on them, up and over the top of this really light wire here. So it goes over the top of that and then down and around this hook, and then straight up into the thread guide here, and then up the top to the take-up lever, and you'll need to put that through the hole there. Okay, just checking it's not getting caught on anything else. Down to this guide here, into the next guide here, and then there's a little hole just above where the needle is, so place it through that hole, and then all you've got to do is thread the needle. Now to thread the needle, it's going to be a lot easier with the clamp down, so we'll turn the power off so that we can get easy access to the needle.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's too hard to thread it.
Really annoying otherwise.
Yeah, it's really too hard. So it threads from the back to the front. So when we think about where the bobbin is at the front of the machine here. So it threads in towards the bobbin, and I'm going to need to snip that thread off to be able to get it to go through the needle. So maybe just, can you snip that for me please, Mark? Thank you. So maybe use tweezers if you're having trouble getting it in. It's quite tricky threading from the back to the front. Okay, I'm going to grab the tweezers at this point to get in there and pull that through. Now make sure that the thread doesn't twist around the needle as it's coming through, because that will be a problem for you if it does that. And then that's ready to go. Now we'll just trim the length of that thread back, and then we need to put the bobbin into the bobbin case. Here's the bobbin case here. Now it should spin. I always need to check when inserted correctly, the bobbin case, the bobbin should spin anti-clockwise. So put it in so that when you pull on it, it's going around anti-clockwise into the slot in behind that spring. And then this is probably the most important thing. You need to trim that tail thread back to no longer than 3 centimetres. So I'll get you to do that, Mark, thanks. Okay, a nice short thread. If that's long, it will get tangled up underneath the machine and will jam the machine, and often I can't fix that. So when we put it into the machine, we've got that little cutout section facing straight up, and we hear the click when we push it in. That's very important. Now the machine's ready to go. We just need to turn it back on again at the back and press the enter button on the other side, and we're ready to sew. The other thing I should mention is the length of the buttonhole is determined behind this little slide door here. At the moment we've got it set with the pointer on the 3/8 of an inch, which is probably about a 1 centimetre button, and the middle of the bolt there is showing the length of the finished buttonhole, which is a little bit over 1 centimetre. It's probably about 1.5. That accounts for the 2 bars at either end, taking up a few millimetres each. Now to operate the machine, you'll be putting your work in under here. We'll be doing buttonholes on our shirt that go horizontally. So we'll have our folded edge of our front here. We'll be lining it up. We'll be carefully dropping the pedal down by lightly pressing on it, and then adjusting it until we have the edge of the box, or the presser foot, sitting on the edge of the fold there. Is that correct, Mark? Yes. And then we're going to press down hard. Important you take your foot off the pedal, otherwise it will keep going around and around. And there is our buttonhole. You can just trim that back. You'll need to cut that open with a pair of thin embroidery scissors, or if you're going to use an unpicker, make sure that you go from the end towards the centre and come around from the end towards the centre again, so that you don't accidentally go through the end of the buttonhole. And that's our buttonhole machine.